Imagine for a moment the most desolate, lifeless place you could ever conceive, an ocean of darkness so vast, so cold, and so ancient that even light from nearby stars refuses to linger. No planets orbit. No suns blaze. No echoes of cosmic collisions rumble through the emptiness. This is the true silence of deep space. And in that unimaginable void, something moved. Not floated. Not drifted. Moved, with purpose. Not in the chaotic ballet of a comet or the dead twirl of shattered rock. No, this was a calculated maneuver. And the first to notice? Not some next-generation AI telescope orbiting Earth. Not a billion-dollar deep space array stationed on some mountain in Chile. It was an aging, whispering emissary from the 1970s, Voyager 2. A spacecraft so old its mainframe remembers disco. And yet, it just spotted something that may forever redefine our understanding of what lies beyond the edge of everything we know. Voyager 2, half forgotten by pop culture but never by science, has spent the last few decades quietly sailing farther than any object we've ever launched. It crossed the boundary of our solar system, slipped beyond the sun's magnetic grasp, and entered interstellar space, an ocean where silence is thicker than time. Out there, in the place beyond places, its instruments, though ancient by today's standards, continue to listen. And then, out of the cold, came a whisper. It began as a low pulse. A flicker on a monitor. A hiccup in the plasma wave detector, a simple analog component more at home in a museum than the frontier of the unknown. But the signal didn't fade. It shifted. It pulsed again, this time sharper. Then a directional movement. And then, almost unnervingly, it seemed to pause, as if aware. Understand, space beyond the heliopause, the invisible border where the sun's influence dies, is not supposed to be alive. It's supposed to be still. Dead. The vacuum isn't empty of everything, but what is there behaves with maddening predictability: cosmic rays, sparse ions, ancient radiation. Static. Flatline. But this wasn't that. This was something else. Something moving, correcting its course, adjusting its behavior. It was detected not just once, not as a one-off anomaly. It maintained a pattern. And what troubled the scientists wasn't just that it moved. It responded. When Voyager 2 altered its orientation, a subtle shift in position, the object's signal appeared to shift, too. Not as a lagging consequence, but as a synchronized reaction. And that's when the unsettling questions began. Could it be alive? Intelligent? A form of consciousness? Theories flooded in. But none fit neatly into the known laws of physics. Because if something in that emptiness can move with purpose, correct its trajectory, respond to changes in its observer, and do all this without any visible propulsion or energy signature, then we are no longer dealing with the familiar. There's no solar power that far out. There's no gravitational slingshot to lean on. And certainly no fuel station. Yet it moved. Without light. Without flame. Without the signature trails we rely on to track movement in space. No radiation. No ionization trail. Just motion, silent and deliberate. The waveform itself was peculiar. Natural plasma waves have a kind of signature, a randomness that can be explained through known mechanics. This one didn't. It came in pulses. Bursts. And the timing, oh, the timing, was the most haunting of all. It wasn't rhythmic like a pulsar. It wasn't chaotic like a storm. It was intentional. Like a message. A beat. 1 2 pause. 1 2 3. Silence. Then again. Just slightly different. As if testing. As if searching for a reply. Some described it as Morse code. Others suggested a kind of interstellar sonar. But what disturbed everyone most was the unmistakable suggestion of feedback. It acted as though it noticed it was being observed, and changed its behavior accordingly. And in the realm of science, that is not something that inert objects do. There were immediate attempts to classify the anomaly. Was it a rogue planet? A fragment of a neutron star's magnetic field? A new kind of plasma structure? But none matched the data. There was no mass signature. No gravitational pull. No light reflection. No known chemical trace. Just motion, and a modulating signal pattern that didn't belong to nature as we know it. The idea of artificiality began to take hold. Not as science fiction whimsy, but as a serious hypothesis. Could it be a probe? A long-dead relic of a civilization that passed through this sector eons ago? Or worse, could it still be active? Still watching? If so, who, or what, built it? Was it launched, like Voyager, on a mission of curiosity? Or is it something more defensive, more cautious, monitoring the interstellar space between star systems for intrusions? The kind of presence that waits patiently, quietly, until something brushes its field of awareness. And then came the deeper scans. As Voyager's systems adjusted, the anomaly's behavior subtly shifted again. It followed. Not closely. Not threateningly. But intentionally. As though keeping tabs. As though aware of the spacecraft's position in three-dimensional space. The anomaly began curving, dipping, correcting its path, not in straight lines like drifting space junk, but with arcs and halts. It didn't just float. It navigated. That's when researchers began exploring a different possibility. What if this wasn't an object at all? What if it was a region, a field? An area of space that activates under certain conditions? Like a cosmic tripwire. A sensor zone. An awareness net. Perhaps Voyager didn't find something, it triggered something. A presence, a force, a mechanism that lies dormant until a spark of movement brushes past. And if that's true, then we didn't just stumble upon something, we activated it. And that realization has scientists both thrilled and terrified. Because if space is not as empty as we assumed, if there are zones or mechanisms lying in wait out there, then our entire philosophy of exploration is about to change. No longer are we sailing a vast and silent ocean. We may be moving through a galactic tapestry laced with unknown devices, dormant intelligence, or perhaps even warning systems. Back on Earth, this discovery sent shockwaves through quiet research labs. Data teams scrambled to compare the readings with anything previously logged by Voyager or its twin, Voyager 1. Nothing matched. Astronomers searched historical anomalies, gamma bursts, deep field irregularities, anything that might lend a clue. But the truth remains, nothing in the known catalog of cosmic phenomena behaves this way. The interstellar medium, the sparse scattering of particles between stars, was always considered static, inert, forgettable. Until now. And yet, the implications stretch even further. Voyager 2 is now located within the local interstellar cloud, a region of relative calm in the galaxy, but still a place so sparse that a handful of hydrogen atoms per cubic centimeter is considered a dense patch. For something to move in such a vacuum with that kind of precision implies one of two things. Either it is creating its own energy, independent of any star, or it is utilizing a propulsion system completely unknown to us, something beyond chemical, beyond solar, even beyond theoretical nuclear drives. It is movement without fuel. Without light. Without sound. So what does that leave us with? Either we have encountered a form of natural intelligence, something born not of biology, but of plasma and feedback loops and cosmic energy fields, or we've crossed paths with a piece of technology. Not ours. Not from any Earth-born space agency. Not even from anything resembling human engineering. Something else. Something older. Something watching. And as Voyager 2 continues to hum along through the darkness, its signals bouncing back across the endless ocean of space, one thing becomes chillingly clear. We are not alone in the void. There are things out there. Waiting. Listening. Perhaps even reacting. And now they know, we've arrived. In the lightless abyss of interstellar space, farther than any human-built object has ever dared to drift, something stirred. Not a wandering asteroid tumbling through the void. Not the silent, predictable glide of a comet on its elongated, icy path. This was motion with intent. A deliberate shift through the cold vacuum where no sun shines, no planets orbit, and no gravitational hand steers the way. And this movement, this impossible anomaly, wasn't caught by a next-gen AI telescope orbiting Earth or a massive radio array scanning distant galaxies. It was detected by Voyager 2, the aging spacecraft launched in the late 1970s, long forgotten by many, now operating well beyond the bounds of our solar system. Its sensors, ancient by today's standards, almost laughably primitive compared to modern equipment, picked up something so bizarre, so profoundly inexplicable, that it has sent ripples of disbelief through the scientific community. Voyager didn't just pick up noise or an irregular signal. It captured behavior. And that behavior doesn't fit within any existing model of natural space phenomena. Something out there moved with rhythm, changed direction, and gave every impression of awareness. An object, or perhaps an entity, that wasn't supposed to exist in the stillness beyond our heliosphere. The signal came from the region of space beyond the heliopause, the outer boundary where the solar wind gives way to the even colder emptiness of the interstellar medium. Out there, it's supposed to be quiet. Dead quiet. A place so free of energy fluctuations that it serves as a baseline for measuring cosmic silence. Yet, in that very silence, Voyager 2's plasma wave detector picked up a pulse. At first, it was subtle, a low-frequency hum, barely distinguishable from the background. But then came bursts, fluctuations, and subtle shifts in direction and timing. Patterns began to form. Not random noise. Not cosmic static. This was structured movement. And even more unsettling, the signal's characteristics changed whenever Voyager adjusted its orientation. As the spacecraft rotated or shifted, the signal seemed to react, almost as if it recognized that it was being observed. That alone sent chills down the spines of those analyzing the data. Because rocks and gas clouds don't respond to being watched. This reaction felt almost curious. Initial theories tried to keep things grounded. Could it have been a collision of plasma waves, forming a temporary pocket of energy that mimicked movement? Perhaps a long-forgotten chunk of space debris from some ancient alien civilization? But those possibilities crumbled under scrutiny. The object, whatever it was, altered its course. It slowed down. It accelerated. It even paused. None of these actions matched known physics for natural objects floating through interstellar space. There was no gravitational body nearby to influence its motion. And no known propulsion system, chemical, nuclear, or even theoretical ion-based engines, could explain the way it glided, turned, and moved again. Even more bizarre was the complete absence of any detectable exhaust plume, thermal signature, or radiation trail. In a place so sensitive to energy changes that a single proton can set off instruments, this thing moved silently, invisibly, but with undeniable presence. Scientists dove deeper into the plasma wave data, dissecting every pulse, every flicker, and every irregularity. What they found added another layer of confusion. The pulses weren't just irregular, they were patterned. Not periodic like a natural frequency, but timed like code. Energy surges followed by silence. Then another burst. The intervals changed subtly, each one slightly different, like a language, or a signal waiting for a response. To those trained in wave mechanics, it didn't look like anything naturally occurring. One researcher compared it to a kind of interstellar Morse code, while another more cautiously proposed that it resembled radar pings, active scanning behavior, not just passive emission. If true, that would mean something out there was probing the environment. Perhaps even Voyager itself. And if something was scanning, then something had to be in control of it. At this point, theories diverged wildly. The more conservative voices suggested that Voyager may have simply passed through a region of warped space, perhaps a bubble of plasma energy that had developed some sort of resonant loop. Others weren't so sure. The timing, the modulation, the apparent responsiveness, none of it made sense in the framework of known plasma behavior. Even rogue magnetic fields couldn't explain how the anomaly maintained coherence across time and distance. It wasn't fading. It wasn't dispersing. It was acting as though it knew where it was going. And more importantly, it was acting as though it knew it was not alone. Whispers began to circulate behind the scenes, carefully worded emails among scientists, speculative late-night discussions during telescope shifts, private phone calls to trusted colleagues. Could Voyager 2 have encountered something artificial? A relic drifting through the void? A technology so advanced, its creators either long gone or watching from a distance so vast we can't begin to comprehend it? One theory posited that it could be a cloaked interstellar probe, something designed to observe without detection, perhaps activated only when another probe, like Voyager, enters its field of awareness. The interstellar version of a submarine, peering through the black, responding silently. The idea sounds like science fiction, yet every shred of data continues to scream that this is not normal. It doesn't behave like debris, nor like a comet, nor any known form of space plasma. And then there's the question of power. How is it moving? There is no sun to feed a solar sail. No gravitational wells to slingshot from. No known radiation bursts to ride. Chemical propulsion is out of the question, there would be residue. Nuclear power would leave traces. But this object moved without sound, without fire, without trace. It glided through the mediumless black, seemingly indifferent to the laws that bind even our most advanced spacecraft. The energy cost to do what it's doing is astronomical, unless, of course, it's tapping into something we don't understand. Zero-point energy, interstellar drag currents, manipulation of magnetic field lines, concepts that remain in the realm of theory suddenly feel uncomfortably plausible. Still, some scientists tried to pull the conversation back to natural explanations. Perhaps, they argued, this was an undiscovered form of intelligent plasma. A rare phenomenon in which charged particles, trapped in a stable loop, begin reacting to external stimuli like Voyager's electromagnetic emissions. Like a primitive awareness. But even this idea bends current understanding to its limits. Plasma doesn't think. It doesn't course-correct. And it certainly doesn't initiate patterns of energy that evolve over time. Yet, that is exactly what Voyager recorded. As investigators mapped out the object's path, the mystery only deepened. The movement wasn't linear. It didn't follow a straight trajectory from point A to point B. It curved. It paused. It reversed, slightly. Its path suggested deliberate maneuvering, course corrections that implied a destination, or perhaps avoidance. And these adjustments weren't chaotic like a drifting object caught in turbulence. They were smooth, refined, as if piloted. Some scientists proposed an even more exotic explanation, that Voyager had entered a sensor field, a region of space designed to detect intrusions. And the anomaly wasn't random, it was a response. A kind of interstellar tripwire, dormant until activated by Voyager's presence. That possibility chilled even the most seasoned astronomers. Because if true, it means space is not as empty as we thought. It means someone, or something, built a system out there, one with triggers, responses, and unknown intentions. And all this strangeness, is happening in one of the most desolate regions known to astronomy, the local interstellar cloud. A sparse bubble of dust and gas with fewer particles than a laboratory vacuum. An area that should be devoid of surprise, offering only stillness and predictable cosmic background noise. Yet something moved there. Something unknown. Something perhaps watching. Voyager 2, our silent ambassador from a long-forgotten era, may have accidentally stumbled upon a secret that space has kept for billions of years. And now, as the signal persists, modulates, and evolves, we are left staring into the dark, asking the one question that terrifies us the most: what, exactly, is out there watching us back?